So today, I'm going to go over a couple more European nations. We're doing Poland versus the Netherlands. Now, the Dutch have a lot of history with music, and I kind of went over that in a previous video when I covered the black metal scene from that region. I would highly recommend you check that out. I also did a black metal overview of Eastern Europe where I covered what Poland has given us in the black metal realm, but this is exclusively death metal. Now, both of these nations are well known for their death metal output, especially early on. I'm going to go over my top 3 from each nation of the early death metal releases, compare, contrast, not just the music, but that weighs the most heavy into my calculation here. The aesthetics, the artwork, the logos, anything like that will go into the calculation to determine which nation's output was superior. Now, historically, I don't think the Poles and the Dutch really had much interaction. I'm not familiar with any wars or fighting or battles or anything of that nature. I don't even know how much trade there was really going on, as there were a couple nations in between them. And, well, Poland didn't exist for a while, and existed in a large fashion, in a different fashion, in a shrunken fashion. Look into their history. It's very interesting. I'm going to put a couple facts on the screen here. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, as I think that's when people are leaving my video. Alright, starting over here in the Netherlands, the Dutch put out a number of fantastic releases early on in the 90s. You've got bands such as Alter, Gorefest, Pestilence, God Dethroned, Asphyx. All of those have put out A-tier albums that are very well known. But none of those I'm going to use to represent what I think are the best albums from the Netherlands from this time period. The first one I'm going to give you is Inquisitor. Their 1996 album, Walpurgis, Sabbath of Lust, is a death thrash masterpiece. It's got some grimy aspects to it that I really like in death metal. I don't know if I'm even explaining it correctly anytime I bring up that grimy death metal sound, but I think it's one of those things you just need to hear to be able to understand. Now, the other thing that really stands out about this album are the vocals, and I understand how they could be a bit off-putting at times, but I do enjoy them, and the guitar solos are also top-notch. You will find them throughout this release. In fact, I would describe that as much more US sounding. Not a particular US scene, but it just seems to have more of the qualities that you found in US death metal in the 90s. Not so much that Dutch sound, which tends towards doom, but not necessarily. There's plenty of examples that don't cover that doom realm, but this is one that's, I would say, if you're familiar with Devastation, but with much different vocals and more death metal, Devastation's heavy thrash. You know what? I'll just let you decide. Check it out. Alright, pretty damn good stuff, right? Well, we're going to go to the opposite side of the death metal coin. This is a lot slower, the plodding death metal. The type that you kind of expect to come from the Netherlands, at least I do. That's the stereotype I have in my head of early Dutch death metal. This is Necro Schizma with their Erupted Evil album from '89. This is very early. Now, I would say if you took Triumph of Death, which they cover on this, and then just expand it into a whole album. That's what this is. So if you enjoy that early plotting, borderline death, doom combination of this is where you want to check out. This is a very primitive sounding demo. I want to make that clear. This is a demo. I might have said album, but I misspoke. I believe it's been re-released a handful of times. So it's not one of those that have been forgotten to time. People are still listening to this, but in case you missed it, check it out. Good stuff, right? Well, this album I'm going to suggest now, also from 1989, combines both of those, the death thrash and the death doom. This is Sempiternal Deathreign. The album is The Spooky Gloom, which is a hell of a title, right? Love it. Now, this very well could be the first death doom album. Correct me if I'm wrong. Interact with me in the comments. Hit the like, do all that stuff. Share it with other people. I would really like this channel to go somewhere. I never hear this album talked about for whatever reason. In case you've missed it also, give it a listen. Check it out. You know, whatever clip I would choose for that, it's not going to do it justice. It's one of those that you have to hear the whole album. Now, there are a few other bands I should not fail to mention from this time and place, like Castle, Antropomorphia, very odd cover, look at that one. But also Centurion, something I apparently slept on. I only learned of them semi-recently from Justin Horville's channel. He's a character. I'm sure you already know who he is if you're listening to me. But I gotta say, I agree with him about umbrellas. I've never heard anybody put it so succinctly.
Centurion Choronzonic Chaos guys. Look at those slick ass SIGs.
Also, Phlebotomized. From '94, they released an album, A Christian Doom Death. Something that's been overlooked, maybe because of that, but it's definitely worth checking out. There's more A-tier stuff that I'm not remembering offhand right now. It goes deep in the Netherlands. But we're going to move on over to Poland now. That's another heavy hitter. Now, of course, you know of Decapitated, but they didn't really put quality stuff out till the 2000s, so I'm not going to include them in my top 3 here. Behemoth, but they were black metal. Surprisingly good black metal, actually, back in the 90s, but now they're just kind of shit tier. Yattering, Dies Ear, it's something in Latin. I don't think I've ever looked up how to pronounce that. Who else? Lost Soul. These are some other good A-tier Polish death metal releases that you need to check out. But I'm going with the classic, the most well-known, and deservedly so, Vader, with their Morbid Reich demo. Now, you might complain about the sound on the demo, but get over it. Best-selling metal demo, or maybe it's extreme metal demo of all time. You probably already know it, but check it out regardless. Now, if you enjoy that, you might want to also check out Dragon or Magnus. But the next one I'm going to give you an example of is from '96, Damnation, their album Reborn. Now, this includes a lot of that thrash that Poland is famous for with their death metal, that death thrash style, but it is much heavier also. This is not quite brutal death metal, but it's very heavy death thrash. There's a lot of variation in speed. It never gets boring. This is an awesome album that I think doesn't get talked about nearly enough. The guitar solos are great. You know what? Just check it out. What do you think? I didn't want to lead you on, but that is another example of a European album that has a lot of US qualities to it, especially the Floridian sound. Elements of brutality, solstice, stuff like that. But we're going to change it up. There's another Polish death metal album from the early 90s here, but it sounds so much like a Swedish album. This is elements of Unleashed, Necrophobic, early Tiamat. That's what I hear here. I don't think it's copying, maybe influenced by, but there's nothing generic here that's going to bore you. It's definitely worth checking out this unique Swedish album from Poland. So, could you tell that was a drum machine? I didn't realize it. I had to read that. Go back and listen, see if you can tell. But, a couple other bands worth mentioning. Betrayer, Monster, also Devilin. But I think that's enough. So those are the three from each country. We're going to do some calculations here. We're going to decide whose output, whose early 90s death metal output was superior. So because there was some problems with the accounting firm I hired last time to calculate the results, this matchup, I took all the facts and figures and data and everything that I could have, and I took it to this Caltech, MIT, Oxford team of mathematicians who plugged it into the supercomputer, and they're going to spit out the results here on the screen, be able to determine which country was able to give us the superior death metal sound, because this is a very evenly matched up grouping, wouldn't you say? Top tier stuff. Bam! The wooden shoes have it. Poland has once again made to be disappeared. Gone. Now be sure to come back because I have several more of these in the works. Recorded already. Not ready to go. They're recorded. Alright, do you agree with that? Do you disagree? Are there albums that I should have mentioned that would have made the top three for you for each respective country? Anywho, I've got several more of these in the works. I think we're going to move away from Europe. The next matchup, I don't know where we're going to head next. I've got several of these in the works. I'm not sure which one I'm going to put out first for your viewing pleasure. But we're going to move away from Europe. I don't seem to be getting very many views on these European releases. And I don't know, maybe this crazy cat will make an appearance again. It's a little nuts today, huh?
Holy shit, fucking Centurian, they're awesome.